But I'm like, that can't make no sense because the car that you're buying is the collateral. The car that you buy. So how come? She said, I don't know, Mr. Burke, whatever it is. And then she said, I know other people who have the same problem. I said, okay, have them message me. 8 persons messaged me. And so I made a post, and CGID made a post, and we said, this company has been defrauding their customers, and they must pay them back. And the police must investigate them. Marcia, when I did that, 1,900 people went under that post and made the exact same complaint. So they got angry, and these people are members of the ruling party. They're friends with the president, the attorney general, and the vice president, Jack Dale. They finance the ruling party. They think they're above the law. They're powerful. So they called a young attorney by the name of James Bond and complained to him that, look, you know, your friend Rickford, you know, got our company being attacked by people and da-da-da-da-da. So James called me and asked me if I can take the post down, and I said no. And then he said, okay, the owner's going to call you. And the owner called me. And Marcia, when the owner called me, I ensure I recorded the call because I know that these guys like to lie and frame people. So I recorded the conversation. And he called me and he's like, the post is very damaging. It's affecting their business. People are calling and say that they're robbing people and da-da-da-da-da. If I can have the people who have this problem come to me and I present. I said, what? No, I'm in America. How about if the people go to you? He said, yes. And I said, because I'm not taking down the post. And then he said, okay, could you adjust the post to say, anybody who have this problem, contact me. I'm the general manager. Contact the general manager. I give you the name. I said, fine, I'll do that. And I did that. And then he asked me if I could give him the information of the 8 people plus 1 who had complained to me. And I sent it to him. And then a friend of mine, who's an American, was in Guyana. He was doing business. And he contacted me and said, I bought a Range Rover from these guys and they're refusing to give me the title. And they didn't pay the taxes and one confusion. So I messaged him back and said, hey, listen, look this issue as well. So by then, within a few days, a senior police officer made contact with me and said, they're trying to frame you, be careful. I'm like, they can't frame me because I ain't commit no crime. Next thing you know, I'm hearing on the news, a wanted bulletin was issued for me for attempting to extort the businesses and committing defamation of the business. And the vice president of Guyana, the police commissioner of Guyana, and the attorney general of Guyana have all gone, well, the commissioner of police through press statements, but the attorney general and the vice president went on national television and said Rickford Burke is a criminal. He has a criminal network where he's calling business people in Guyana, telling them, I have dirt on you, and if you don't pay me certain money, then I will expose this dirt. Totally made up story. And on that basis, they told this owner of this BM Soap dealership to go and make a report that I send men to him to extort money from him so that I wouldn't. No, it's a contrary story. And if I don't get the money, I would not take down the post. Some nonsense like that. So I just laughed at it. So I then sent that to the FBI with a complaint. So this matter came up. They charged Darwin Bess as well. The guy who complained to me about his Range Rover.
Right.
They charged him. But later on, what we found out is that the owner of this car dealership called 2 men known to Darwin Bess and say, hey, we want to pay you to do 2 things. We want to pay you to hack in to this there is a news site based in New York. I didn't know where it was based, but now I find out it's based in New York that would carry our articles and share posts and so many newsworthy called Guyana News Network. And Guyana News Network had carried a full-blown article on the crookishness and skullduggery of this car dealership. So he called these two men and said, we will pay you to hack into this website and take down that story and try to see if you could hack into Burke's Facebook page and take down the story, and we're going to pay you $150,000. In addition to that, we have video now showing they're telling him, break into Darwin Best's office and thief back the documents about the Range Rover. We have it on video. So the guy, and how I'm knowing all of this now is because of the police interviews with the men that they arrested. So the man now gone and trying for hack into me Facebook to take down the story, hack into GNN website to take down the story, and they couldn't do it because they told them they could do it. They couldn't do it. And when they couldn't do it, this guy arranged with the police to arrest them for extortion, for the money he paid them to do that. And that's why, that's how they come up with this whole story. So the police officers were so outraged about what they were trying to do that the police officers sent us the entire file, all of the video interviews. That's what you just put up one on the thing just now. All of the interviews and everything, and that's how we got the real story. So Barrett Jagdeo, the Attorney General Anil Nandlal, and the police sat down and cooked up this story. Now here we confuse them. First of all, the plan fell apart because Nandlal came out with a story on his Facebook page saying, I attempted to extort $90 million from the people. Then the police charged the young men with extorting the $150,000 from these two men. I don't know. I don't even know the men, never see them, never hear about them, whatever. I don't know them. So then they write the US, they're trying to get, remember, I'm the big target. They wrote the US and said, Rickford Burke sent men in Guyana to extort these business people. US said, okay, send us the evidence. They sent some cockamamie story from this owner of this dealership saying that I threaten me. I say if you don't give over the money, something. The thing don't even make no sense, Marcia, but that's what they were running with. Now, the US rejected whatever they wrote the US for, US rejected it. They come again. They said, okay, let us carry the matter to court. And when Burke does show up in court, we're going to get a magistrate to issue a warrant for his arrest. And then we're going to go to Interpol. Because remember, the objective is to get me to come to Guyana so they could kill me.
Right, yes. Because
that's the objective.
They want to kill you. Wow.
Exactly. So they don't plan this whole thing, you know. So they said, okay, the magistrate said, but you're asking me for a warrant? I don't even have anything saying this young man was served with this charge. Because that's the process. You got to serve me with a charge and then put me before the court if I'm charged with something in Guyana. Now, a magistrate cannot sign a summons to somebody outside of Guyana. So in order to get the magistrate to sign the thing, they tricked the magistrate and wrote on the summons that I went to Guyana and commit the crime. So the magistrate signed the summons. And then the police commissioner got a senior officer, an assistant superintendent, sent him to the same owner of the car dealership, who then gave this young man, his name is Sarabo, he's now a deputy superintendent, Rodwell Sarabo, sent Sarabo to the same car dealership owner, who then gives Sarabo a ticket and money to fly from Guyana all across the continent of South America to North America, came to the United States of America, conducted surveillance of my home,
Huh.
Saw my movements, monitor my movements and so on.
In
And
the
that was
US? In the
in the United
US?
States. Yes. So one morning I was going to, on the 16th of December, 2023, I was going to church. I was not alone. There was somebody who with me who had a gun. And as when he came to pick me up, he said to me, there's a man outside videoing your home and taking pictures. I said, okay, so when we, I have cameras all around my home. So when we went to look in the camera, we didn't see him. So I'm like, oh, okay, God, all right, because we know what was going on. The FBI is monitoring this thing, NYPD is monitoring this thing. The government of Ghana did not know this was a big issue here because we didn't say anything. I'm now leaving my home to, and I'll send that video to David. I'm now leaving my home with the young man who came to pick me up. And as soon as I opened my door, they dashed into my yard from a parked car across. So that's what they were hiding in this car. So as soon as I came out of I opened the door. Now my home is, you have my front door, a patio, and then a grill. The entire patio is grilled up, and then a grill gate. So I get to the grill, the guy was there pushing something into my face, my hand, showing me something. So I looked at it. So I didn't have all my contacts, so I didn't even know what it was. And then all I did was saw at the top of it the guy in a coat of arms. And I just asked him to leave my premises. I locked my door and I ran, came down my stairs. I always run down the step, and went to the car. As I was going to the car, the guy followed me, accosting me. Yeah, you will serve, whatever. We have a video of that. I left my yard and he's still in the yard. But Marcia, the only reason that they were able to leave my yard in one piece is because it was my Sabbath. I was on my way to church and I was not going to make the devil tempt me. So when we left, we circled the block. And when we came back, we saw him in my yard again, tampering with my mailbox, taking pictures with open my mail, taking pictures of the mail. Like if you want to verify, yes, somebody's getting mail here.
Mm-hmm.
Saw him do that, and then they came down the step. In the meantime, we called the police. But by the time the police arrived, they had left. When the police came they put this document that I refused on my step. When the police came and they saw what it was, I didn't read it. The police said, did this guy, and both of them had guns, by the way, they were armed.
The guys that came with the to serve the paper were armed?
So the police officer from Guyana came to the United States, acquired an illegal gun, and came to my house with a process server who's worked with lawyers here. And he hired him and they came to my house, both of them with guns. Now, once the police heard that, they called in the Joint Terrorism Task Force and they called in the FBI because they considered it an act of international terrorism. FBI came, FBI took the documents they left on my stairs as evidence. They said they wanted to test it for fingerprints and DNA. And so they took those documents. The next day, the Monday, the vice president of Guyana announced to the country that they sent a police officer to my home to serve me. And now I don't have an excuse for not coming to Guyana to go to court. And then the Attorney General of Guyana and the police commissioner issued statements saying they have a right to do that and they will do it to any Guyanese in any country of the world who criticize the government. They boldly said that. Now, before they said that, I issued a statement saying gunmen came to my home. So the world knew.
Yes.
So they had to issue, now the government issued a formal statement saying, I am lying, it wasn't gunmen, it was police officers from Guyana who came to serve me. And the mistake they made, they confirmed in writing that not only did they violate United States sovereignty, they committed an act of transnational repression. They so bright, Marcia, they admitted in writing that they violated United States sovereignty. Now, once that statement was issued, the State Department called in the Guyana ambassador and gave him a warning. I thought that the Biden administration was too weak with regard to this issue, but the FBI kept pursuing the issue. The FBI kept pursuing the issue. Now, the government of Guyana then and the police issued a statement saying, that young man you see sitting there on the right, he was one of the men they arrested, confessed that he spoke to me and I sent him to extort money from this businessman. That is the official statement the government of Guyana issued. The vice president went on television and said that. The attorney general went on television and said that. I then got my attorneys in Guyana to challenge the document they left on my step, because I know what they want to do. They want to go to the magistrate and say I was served. They want a warrant for my arrest, which they will then send to Interpol, put out an alarm all across the world that Rickford Burke fled the jurisdiction. That's what the commissioner said. I fled the jurisdiction and I'm now a wanted fugitive. I mean, Marcia,
I remember reading that.
Marcia, if I was not the person with the kind of fortitude, and I was not a warrior, and I did not know the law, and I did not have access to attorneys and access to people of power, they would have killed me. They would have gotten me killed. And the world would have thought that I was a wanted fugitive shot to death. Yes. That's what they did with all of those 1,400 people. So the matter went to court. And in addition to that, the Attorney General of Guyana boldly wrote the United States government and said, we served him a summons. We sent a police officer to his home in Brooklyn and served him. He thinks he's so bad and powerful. He wrote the State Department and tell the State admitting that they violate U.S. law, violate U.S. sovereignty, violated international law.
Listen, so we have 7 minutes to go. So,
no, so let me get to the ruling. I had to get that to background because they've been lying all the time. So the Chief Justice then presided over the matter, and the Chief Justice ruled last Friday. The Chief Justice.
So let's clarify. So this is now in Guyana. So the case came up in Guyana because we had somebody on here who's saying that you are lying. So if you're lying, it means that the Chief Justice ruled wrongly. So let's I really want to say that because they love to say you're telling lies, but right. So you're going to tell me that the Chief Justice in Guyana then ruled wrongly. But so tell us what the Chief Justice said.
So the Chief Justice presided over the matter, and she ruled last Friday. She said, one, the police officer, the government sending the police officer to New York was a frolic. Two, she said they have no magistrate has powers beyond the jurisdiction of Guyana. She ruled that they lied to the magistrate. And she particularly said, had they informed the magistrate that I never came to Guyana in 27 years, the magistrate would not have signed the summons. And I've been saying all the time that they lied to the magistrate.
Go over the rulings to us again. Go over the rulings. And guys, I'm going to put up on my channel these videos are going to go up on my channel so that you can, but I want, for the sake of Barbados, and the reason, Mr. Burke, is why I want you to go over these rulings. How many of you remembered when Mr. Thorne was speaking concerning the cybercrime bill, and he challenged Marcia Cattle, and he said to her that you are not going to be able to reach into I'm not using the legal terms, but what our opposition leader, when they were seeking, they had a section, Mr. Burke, in our cybercrime bill, which stated that they would be able to reach into the diaspora and they would be able to bring cybercrime through the cybercrime bill. They will be able to bring defamation charges and all of these kinds of issues against people in the
So
diaspora.
let me briefly tell you, say, I have the transcript of the ruling here.
Yes.
One, she said the service of the document was unlawful, that the police officer can't come into another jurisdiction serve a summons. Two, she said the summons was not proper anyway. And then she said they lied to the magistrate, and if they had informed the magistrate that I was not in Guyana, it therefore means she would not have signed that. Then she said, going directly to the charge, she's like, how could Mr. Burke be charged with a crime in Guyana when he's in the United States? And then she went on to say, you cannot, they're charged with criminal defamation and extortion. She said, you cannot charge somebody with criminal defamation. It is against the Constitution. And she struck down the criminal defamation statute in Guyana. And she went on to say that
And the cybercrime.
it's not the cybercrime law. The cybercrime has the same law. So that in effect has also been struck down. Because this is the Criminal Offensive Act. It has a section in it called criminal defamation. And it's a slavery law. Back in the day, they passed a law so that you can't say nothing bad but the slave owner. So that's the law, slavery law they charged me with. So what she said is that it violates the constitutional provision of free speech. And she said that Jamaica, Grenada, and some other countries already got rid of that. And she struck it out of the law. Gone. But then what she also said is she spoke about the dishonesty. And then she said the Attorney General had published to the world that I accepted this summons and said I understand it. And the Chief Justice made sure she pointed out, she said the police officer said in his affidavit that Mr. Burke refused to accept this summons and he left it on his stairs. I mean, the ruling is she hasn't issued a written ruling as yet. I'm reading from the transcript of her ruling. This was most devastating. She excoriated the government. She obliterated them. The woman could not believe that a government did this. And the Attorney General argued the case, The Attorney General appeared in this case to argue that the People's Progressive Party government has the power to violate international law, violate United States sovereignty, violate United States law, to come to me, to attack me at me house in America. Let that sink in. The Attorney General of Guyana, on several occasions, he said it on his show, and then he went to court and argued that the PPP government of Guyana, so powerful that they have the right to violate international law, violate the sovereignty of the United States, the most powerful country in the world, and violate United States law to come here to commit transnational repression crime. Now, what is left, Marcia, is the action here. That's where we're going to get a laugh. That's where we're going to get a laugh. When we go to federal court in America.
Oh my God. I'm here saying, and I what I wanted to say, and I'm hoping, because I must make this correlation. I must cause us in Barbados to remember when Mr. Thorne went to bat on our behalf. You remember that at the Joint Select Committee, and he was letting them know you are not going to be able to reach into any diaspora, and touch any Bajans in the diaspora. And they had to remove that from the cybercrime bill. You remember, folks? And this is the only person that was able to raise that publicly was Mr. Thorne. And you see that it was struck down in Guyana. The same thing that Mr. Thorne was speaking about. That's the point I want us to hear, folks. And that's why you need people who understand the law that will be able to defend the public. And that's what Mr. Thorne was able to do. Listen, oh my goodness. Well, we are so happy. First of all, we are happy you're not in Guyana. We're
But
thankful you're not
Marcia,
in
let me tell you
Guyana.
what is most important. The fact that she struck down this law means that the law, it's a precedent throughout the Commonwealth jurisdiction, jurisprudence.
Explain.
So this ruling now is going to be taught in law schools. This ruling now sets a precedent in the Commonwealth jurisprudence. And it therefore means that anybody else challenges these kinds of laws anywhere in the Commonwealth, the judge will have to be guided by this precedent.
Wonderful.
Now, in addition to that, the cybercrime bill of Guyana gives the magistrate, it says, a court in Guyana shall have jurisdiction in respect of any offense under this act that was committed wholly or in part in Guyana or in any other country. That gone. She just said a magistrate or a court in Guyana only has jurisdiction in the geographical boundary territory of Guyana. So obviously this aspect of the cybercrime bill has been nullified as well.
Wow. My God. Well, I know you went through a whole lot, but people like me happy.
Well, the police licking their wounds, but at the same time say they have irrefutable evidence that Rickford Burke committed extortion, and therefore we will now seek his extradition. It's so embarrassing to the country. It's so embarrassing. I'm not sure. Oh, by the way, the Chief Justice in our ruling, I'm not sure if you have the recording by Gordon Mosley's Newscast.
Let's play but we have our next guest that is lined up. I see Mr. Spencer is there. I hope Mr. Spencer is listening to this. He's a Calypsonian, and they're going to want to try to get him through the cybercrime bill in all kinds of different ways, because he's a man that don't mince words. So Colin Spencer is coming up, folks. You're right. So you wait right there. But Dave, can you play the one with the ruling, please? The one with the news. It's a news item. Go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead. Continue, Mr. Burke, until Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, they said they're gonna extradite me. Oh, there you go.
Yes, go ahead, Dave. Thank you.
For today, Friday, the 20th day of June in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George, in a major ruling this morning, declared that a charge of criminal libel is unconstitutional, as she dismissed a charge that had been filed by the police against overseas-based Guyanese human rights and political activist Rickford Burke. The acting Chief Justice also ruled that a move by the police to have one of its officers travel to the U.S. to serve a summons on Mr. Burke was unlawful. On the charge of defamatory libel, Justice George said she has concluded that Section 113 of the Criminal Offences Act, Chapter 801, is unconstitutional, as being in violation of Article 146, which guarantees freedom of expression. The judge told the court that a threat of state action through criminal law amounts to overreach and does not fall within the exceptions to Article 146, which guarantees freedom of expression. Acting Chief Justice George said if someone feels aggrieved by what has been said about them, they may file a civil suit, and it should not be for the state, through any law enforcement arm, to charge persons for criminal defamation. She said in the particular case against Mr. Burke, the charges are vague, as they do not specify what exactly are the defamatory libel that were published. She said it is not enough on a criminal charge to simply say that someone has been libeled, explaining that an accused must know precisely what are the words allegedly used by him or her that led to the charge. The acting Chief Justice said the charges do not disclose what is the alleged defamatory language stated, and the summons that was produced by police officer Sarabo did not refer to Section 33. She said it remains a mystery what laws were being used to file the charges against Burke. The judge also questioned how it is that Burke was being accused of a crime at Lusignan in Guyana when he has been living in the U.S. for 27 years and has never returned. She said it is evident that the prosecution did not disclose to the magistrate that Mr. Burke was not in Guyana and could not have been at Lusignan as stated in the charge because he resides overseas and had been so for many years without having returned. Justice George said if that was disclosed to the magistrate, then she most likely would have declined to have issued a summons under her hand against Mr. Burke. The judge also said the service of the summons on Mr. Burke in the U.S. was unlawful, since the summons would only have efficacy within the geographical boundaries of Guyana. She says service of a summons outside of the jurisdiction of Guyana means that such service would be unlawful and therefore invalid. Justice George concluded that the proposed service of the summons was not established, and in any event, it was unlawful. She queried whether advice was even sought from the Director of Public Prosecutions on the issue and the charges against Burke. The acting Chief Justice awarded costs for the applicant in the matter, Rickford Burke, in the sum of $500,000 from each of the named respondents. The police had filed a charge against the activist Rickford Burke following a complaint from the owner of BM Soot Auto Sales, Afraz Mohammed, about statements that Burke allegedly carried on his social media page from disgruntled customers of the car dealership. Mr. Burke was represented by Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford in the matter. More news coming up in just a moment.
Wow.
That's a comprehensive report on the Chief Justice order ruling.
I'm telling you, listen, I am sitting here, and this is why I know you said it would have been good to have a lawyer on the show. And so we are sending the information to a lawyer here because I would love for them to look at this, Barbados, in light of the cybercrime bill, which they're seeking to criminalize us and to jail us up to 10 years. You understand what I'm saying? So this I believe, I'm not a lawyer, you are a lawyer, but I believe that this will have some bearing on what happens in Barbados.
Well, I don't think nowhere in the Caribbean or in the Commonwealth jurisprudence, any law that charges people for criminal defamation or criminal libel is valid. This judgment sets the precedent and it nullifies that law. It is now up to the legislatures of the countries or the courts to ensure that these laws are off the book. These laws are slavery laws. And it had to take people from the PPP with slavery mentality and a slavery view of Black people speaking out against them to go and invoke this old slavery law to try to silence African Guyanese who were critics of people who were in the PPP who are of a different ethnicity.
Yes. Well, I am so happy. There are two things here. The one about the reaching into another jurisdiction. Mr. Thorne here in Barbados, he made sure that the public knew that they couldn't do that. And now with this result here, I know it's going to affect what they do here in Barbados. Mr. Burke, I want to thank you for sharing your experience. I'm not even going to say a story. This is a serious, this is a life and death. They really wanted to kill this man. They wanted to kill this man. They want him to come home to Guyana so that they could kill him. And I just want to say to you, Mr. Burke, we thank God that you are, first of all, alive. And second of all, because I've been following you. I've been following this. And you see, there's a reason, because it comes back now that we in Barbados, Colin Spencer, all of the Calypsonians, everybody will benefit. I believe, I will talk to a lawyer in Barbados, but I believe we're going to benefit from this ruling here in Guyana. Well, sir, thank you so much. And can I just tell you that our opposition leader from Barbados here is going to be in New York. And I really would love if you could meet up with him. Dave, can you put that back up on the screen? And have a chat with him, lawyer to lawyer, on this issue here. Dave, if he could put that back on the screen, it's going to be Sunday, July 13th. And I'm going to send you the I sent you this flyer because I want you to have a conversation with him because they ain't gonna lock me up in here.
Well, I welcome meeting with anybody, whether it's from the government or from the opposition. I've met with the Prime Minister of Barbados before, members of our government, and I'll be happy to meet with the opposition leader if he so desires.
Yes, yes. So, I will send this to you, and you can make the person in the U.S. I could give them your number and see. The reason it's not for political reasons. It's the protection of the citizens, right?
Well, of course, I'm president of the Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy, so that's within our purview to ensure that people's rights are preserved.
Because I remember you said Bajans are part of it, so that's why I'm saying to have a conversation. Hopefully, schedule allows, and that because we are concerned about this cybercrime bill. Okay, thank you so much, Mr.
Thanks for having me. Good night, everybody.
Oh my gosh, this has been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Congratulations, and sleep good in your bed tonight.
I've always slept well. I'm not a criminal.
All right. All right. God bless you.